ready whenever you are.
Okay. Hello and welcome to this edition of the Vermont Report on Palestine, Israel. I'm Mark Hage. It is Monday, November 17th, 2025, day 773 of Israel's war of genocide against the people of Gaza. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, since October of 2023, 69,483 Palestinians have been killed, 170,706 have been wounded or injured, nearly 10,000 are still reported missing. Between October 10th, when the most recent ceasefire went into effect, and November 10th, according to the European Mediterranean Monitor, a human rights organization, Israel has killed 242 Palestinians, 85 of them children, and injured 619. Just to be clear, those statistics were over a one-month period after the most recent ceasefire went into effect. Israel has also continued to block vital humanitarian aid into the Gaza territory. Turning now to our program. Shireen Abu Akleh was one of the most respected and beloved journalists in the Arab world. She reported for several years from the occupied West Bank. And in May of 2022, an Israeli sniper shot her dead while she was doing her job in the city of Jenin in the West Bank. Our first report tonight, titled "Who Killed Shireen?" explores the facts surrounding her death and the predictable spin and cover-up operations that ensued both in Israel and in the United States. Shireen Abu Akleh was Palestinian, but she was also an American citizen. Our second report is called Gaza, Fragile Freedom. It features the reflections of Palestinian journalist Ibrahim El-Khalil after his brother was released from an Israeli prison after 19 horrific months. Mr. Al-Khalil also reflects on the scars, physical, emotional, and psychological, that many freed Palestinian prisoners are now struggling with. We'll close this program with a solo performance by Annie Lennox, which was part of the Together for Palestine benefit concert in September in Great Britain. But first, the documentary report, Who Killed Shireen?
Breaking news overnight, a reporter for the Al Jazeera network was shot and killed while covering an Israeli raid in the West Bank.
We are absolutely heartbroken to learn of the killing of Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh and injuries to her producer Ali Samoudi today in the West Bank. We send our deepest condolences to Shireen's family, her friends and loved ones, and strongly condemn her killing, as we do the killing of journalists around the world.
To 500 million people around the world, Shireen Abu Akleh was the trusted face that they would rely on for news from the Middle East. For more than 20 years as a Palestinian-American journalist, Shireen was living the very story she was covering, the Israeli occupation of Palestine.
She was, as you say, wearing a helmet and body armor that was clearly marked as press when she was shot.
Shireen was an American citizen with deep ties to the United States. Born in Jerusalem, she was raised Christian and spent much of her childhood in New Jersey. Shireen was drawn back to the region to cover the suffering and tragedy of the Palestinian people.
Her loss was felt, profoundly, because she was somebody who had covered this, covered the region, knew it profoundly, and was a household name to Palestine, not just Palestinians, but people across the region.
I've been covering the Middle East for 20 years, most recently for the Wall Street Journal. I've been kidnapped in Gaza, blown up in Beirut.
I'm standing in the wreckage of my apartment.
And shot at by Houthi fighters in Yemen. I've lost journalist friends to Israeli tank fire, so Shireen's death hit me hard. Her death sent shockwaves through the region. Thousands of people lined up to mourn her. When the funeral procession set out for the cemetery, the police in Jerusalem attacked her casket, sparking even more outrage. And because Shireen was a U.S. citizen, her death and the Israeli response created an immediate crisis for the Biden administration. One U.S. official said privately that Israel had killed Shireen twice by attacking her casket.
The thing that was, very striking right at the start of this was the way in which the public statements very clearly attempted to shift responsibility for her death onto Palestinians. The very first statement that was put out by the IDF, which creates a sort of portrayal that there was overwhelming gunfire from Palestinians.
Immediately following Shireen's death, Israel's then Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, blamed Palestinians for her killing and set up a narrative that Israeli soldiers would never intentionally target a journalist clearly wearing body armor labeled with press.
Investigating attacks on independent media and prosecuting those responsible are of paramount importance.
When the White House thought it was likely that a Palestinian shooter killed Shireen, the Biden administration called for the shooter to be prosecuted. And this was a president who said he would never tolerate attacks on American citizens around the world. However, there was a problem with the Israeli explanation. There were no Palestinian gunmen anywhere near Shireen or her team. Journalists at the scene said the fatal shots came from Israeli forces 200 meters up the road from Shireen. Within days, the Israeli narrative collapsed under the overwhelming evidence of eyewitnesses corroborated by video.
All the investigative work that went on by both the media and other agencies into this clearly showed that initial account from the IDF was not accurate.
After a few months of evading responsibility, Israel finally admitted one of their own soldiers killed Shireen. American officials said they couldn't determine if Shireen's killing was a crime without talking to the shooter, but Israel refused to cooperate. No one has been held to account. Justice has not been served. I want to know, who killed Shireen? If we don't answer this question, more journalists, more Americans, and more innocent people will be targeted and killed with impunity. So we decided we were going to find the shooter ourselves.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm gonna hit record.
When Shireen was killed, it was such a shock to all of us. And then to watch how Israel used misinformation and disinformation to obscure the facts for months was really disturbing to me.
Shireen was not just any journalist. She is the first American Palestinian journalist, American journalist who has been killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank.
I think the bigger story for us is why the U.S. government abdicated any role in this investigation and why Israel has refused to tell the U.S. government the name of the shooter and who the shooter was and any information about the shooter.
The Biden administration produced a classified report on Shireen's death, but they refused to release it.
We know the senior Biden people, they're not talking about Shireen's death. They're not talking about Palestinian deaths. They're not really talking at all. Are there going to be people here in D.C. over the next couple of days that are lower level that might be willing to talk?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people here that are longtime sources that I want to hit up on this. Because it's so closed off, they're very reluctant to talk. But it's the end of the administration. You know, I'm hoping that maybe they'll ease up a little bit and be more willing to share information.
Do we think that any of them have the actual name, though?
Yeah, I don't think anybody has his name. You know, when she was first shot, the U.S. wanted to interview the guy, and Israel said no.
Do we think it's so closely held because it's embarrassing to Israel?
I think it's for political reasons. I'm not sure. There's, you know, when we talked to Senator Van Hollen, he has read the report and he's called for it to be declassified. I drive myself crazy with this, is that people think they understand. People think they know what happened with Shireen's shooting, but they don't, right? Like, the narrative has been so obscured by the Israeli obfuscation that even like the top US officials that worked on this, I don't think really understand what happened that day.
I want to hear from somebody who was closer to it on the Israeli side.
Yeah, so one of the best people that can do that is this guy, Eyal Hulata, who was the national security advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who was the prime minister when Shireen Abu Akleh was killed. So he was in the room when they were responding to this crisis. You know, one of the most famous things that happened was that the prime minister put out this video on Twitter, you know, that's suggested that Palestinians had killed her. It was a video of these Palestinian gunmen, remember? You know, shooting down an alleyway, and they were like, there's a high likelihood that she was killed by Palestinian gunmen. Hello. Hello. I don't remember the prime minister ever coming out and saying that video was wrong.
I don't think the video was wrong. I think it was, I mean, it was, I mean, it's a genuine video.
But the impression was that was the place where they were shooting down an alleyway, and that they might have hit her at that incident.
Yeah.
And they showed, people went to that alleyway and showed there was no way that they could have been shooting at Shireen.
I cannot refer to that. This is how they viewed it at the time.
Hours after Shireen's killing, a top Israeli general told the Americans it was very likely an Israeli soldier had killed her, even though they were blaming her death publicly on Palestinian gunmen.
Diane, I think it's important that we try to figure out what was being said inside the Biden administration and the State Department when Shireen was killed, and what they were thinking, what they were trying to find out from Israeli officials, right?
Yeah. Well, like, everybody that I've talked to has said if you want to find that out, you talk to this guy, Andrew Miller.
Sorry to be late. No worries. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
Connor, this is Connor.
The IDF written report, what it says is, Ms. Abu Akleh was accidentally hit by IDF gunfire fired towards suspects identified as armed Palestinian gunmen during an exchange of fire. But that's not accurate, is it?
It's nearly 100% certain that an Israeli soldier, likely a sniper, fired the shot that killed, or the shots that killed Shireen Abu Akleh. Based on all the information we have, it is not credible to suggest that there were targets either in front of or behind Shireen Abu Akleh. The fact that the official Israeli position remains that this was a case of crossfire. The entire episode was a mistake, as opposed to potentially a mistaken identification, or the deliberate targeting of this individual points to, I think, a broader policy of seeking to manage the narrative.
And did these Israelis ever make the soldier available to the U.S. to talk about it?
No. And the Israelis were not willing to present that person for even informal questioning.
The U.S. had requested to interview the Israeli soldier, and Israel never made him available. Why not? Why not?
Because Israel isn't a very good and trustworthy investigative mechanism, and we provided all of the materials to the Americans.
I think this is part of Israel's insistence that they can investigate these situations themselves and outside parties don't have any role to play. But we're still left with the question of why did this IDF soldier fire that shot?
Did Prime Minister Bennett ever have any conversations with President Biden about Shireen Abu Akleh that you remember?
Not that I recall.
So there was never a direct conversation where Biden discussed it with the Prime Minister?
Not that I recall, but again, I can't be certain about that. I don't remember every conversation. This wasn't a topic between the President and the Prime Minister.
The day Shireen was killed, the Biden administration took a hard line and called for the shooter to be prosecuted. But when it became clear an Israeli soldier was likely responsible, the American tone shifted. Gone was talk of prosecuting the shooter. Instead, the U.S. started making vague calls for accountability.
I think there was a genuine and sincere desire at the outset to get to the bottom of what happened, but unfortunately, there obviously wasn't justice in the sense of any type of legal process.
It soon became clear we needed more help finding the Israeli shooter. So I reached out to a close colleague in Israel.
All right, what do you got for us?
Well, I have a contact in Duvdeban. I have received confirmation that he was on the scene and he participated in the operation that saw the death of Shireen.
Oh, he agreed to, this guy's actually agreed to talk?
Yeah, well, he's agreed to speak with me.
Amazing.
Duvdeban means cherry in Hebrew, and the unit considers themselves so elite, they call themselves the cherry on top of the Special Operations dessert. The only scrap of information we had about the shooter was that he was a member of Duvdeban. So Ari and I began reaching out to people connected to the unit. With Ari investigating in Israel, we keep pressing American officials for information about the shooting.
One of the people who's worked to hold the Biden administration the most to account has been Senator Van Hollen.
He's really been one of the most vocal politicians and certainly the loudest senator about getting the information in this report released to the public. And we know what he's read in that report makes him angry.
He's pushed repeatedly to try and get the Biden administration to release it, and they've refused. And he said he thinks that there's nothing in this report that shouldn't be out there for the American people to see.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to President Biden directly about Shireen Abu Akleh?
I have raised the issue of Shireen with him directly, and I've pointed to a letter that I sent to him where, along with many of my colleagues, we asked for the declassification of the Fenzel report on the shooting death, on the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh. We've not gotten a response to that letter, and I've been quite clear that I think that this is an area where the president has not effectively used American influence.
And the U.S., and not just you, but also the Biden administration was pushing Israel to change the rules of engagement. And what was the Israeli response?
Well, we've seen no change in the rules of engagement. In fact, when the Biden administration called for changes in the rules of engagement after the killing of Shireen, we got a very public brush off. We're not going to change them. And in my view, the failure to have changed those rules of engagement has meant more people, innocent people, have gotten killed, including other American citizens.
How did those discussions go on the rules of engagement?
The Israelis insisted that the IDF soldier who likely fired the shot was acting consistently with the rules of engagement.
But there was no change in Israeli rules of engagement because of Shireen Abu Akleh's death?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think that the U.S. failure to hold Israel to account for killing Shireen Abu Akleh contributed to the deaths of other Americans and journalists in the West Bank, Gaza, and Lebanon?
I do believe that if the United States had been more effective and more forceful in insisting that the rules of engagement changed after the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh, that we could have avoided the deaths of these other Americans and other civilians. I mean, these are American citizens. It shouldn't matter whether this is an American citizen on the West Bank, in Israel, or anywhere else in the world. And the fact that you see such difficulty getting accountability in the cases of the deaths of American citizens, it just tells you how much harder it is to get accountability in the deaths of other civilians, Palestinian civilians.
To be crude about it, it's often like Israel is giving the big FU to America on these kinds of issues.
I have said on American television that that is effectively the case, that, you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu is giving the finger to President Biden.
The Biden administration claimed it couldn't say if the shooter intentionally killed Shireen because of Israel's refusal to provide access to the shooter. But behind the scenes, it was always clear American officials knew more than they were saying publicly. After months of trying, I finally found a key Biden administration official who was willing to pull back the cover on the U.S. investigation. Based on everything that the U.S. was able to find out about Shireen Abu Akleh's killing, what was the initial conclusion?
The evidence as it stands, based upon the proximity of the reporters in the road and the soldiers from the Dudavon units on the street, it was an indication that it was an intentional killing of, at this point in time, Shireen Abu Akleh. Whether or not they knew it was her or not can very well be debated, but they would have absolutely known that it was a media person or non-combatant at a minimum that that person shot and killed.
This soldier knew that it was someone in the media and intentionally opened fire and killed her.
Absolutely knew that it was a non-combatant, and every indication was that it was media, because it was clear within all optics from that distance and location and the visual capabilities of that day.
So your belief is that that soldier looked down his scope and could see the blue vest and that it said press.
That is my belief, yes. So it changed ultimately to be that it was a tragic accident versus being an intentional killing of the individual.
That's shocking to hear.
Well, ultimately, I think what it came down to was different pressure within the administration to not try to anger the government of Israel too much by trying to force their hand at saying that they'd intentionally killed a U.S. citizen.
To go from saying something is an intentional killing to a tragic accident is night and day.
It absolutely is.
They didn't want the killing of an American journalist to upset relations between America and Israel.
That's correct. At least not in the terms to say that the Israelis intentionally killed her, to say they intentionally killed an American.
Would you say that the Israeli military has a kind of a operation philosophy of shoot first, ask questions later?
I would say that the IDF has that their basic premise. So when they go into an operation, we've seen it on video, we've seen it in numerous reports as well, that when they go in, they'll not be concerned about the additional folks that might be killed that happen to be innocent bystanders. It's they're going to engage what they think their target is, and if anyone else comes into that target area, to them they become a target, even if they happen to be a non-combatant.
You think the soldier who fired that shot would be convicted of murder, essentially?
I think that in a court of law, it would be easy to see beyond a reasonable doubt that the soldier should have been able to identify Shireen Abu Akleh, at least as media, chose not to do so and intentionally engaged to kill her, that individual would be able to be convicted of manslaughter or third-degree murder based upon the fact that it was an intentional killing of a non-combatant.
Would you say that the Biden administration failed Shireen Abu Akleh?
I would say so. The U.S. should have absolutely come forward and actually pressed the fact that an American citizen was killed intentionally by IDF.
Hey, it's Ari.
He's calling?
Yeah. I'm gonna put him on speaker. Hey, Ari?
Hi, Dion.
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's all right. Connor, you there?
Hey, what's up?
All is good. Have something of an interesting development
What's up?
to share. So there was one contact. He told me that he's just got out of Gaza.
Wow.
And we got to talk, but he was very well acquainted with someone who was there that day, who participated in the operation. After a little while, he seemed to suggest that this person he was talking about was actually the shooter.
Really?
Wow.
But here's the twist.
I think we've gotten as much as we're going to get out of officials here in Washington.
We got to talk to Fatima, and we got to talk to people who are eyewitnesses. We just have to go over to Israel.
Before meeting with Ari, we wanted to see with our own eyes where Shireen was killed and get a first-hand account of what happened that day. Shireen wasn't the only person shot. Her producer, Ali, was also hit by an Israeli bullet.
So how long do you think it's going to take us to get up there?
On a good day, it's an hour and a half. But now the checkpoints are all over the West Bank. It's not just in Jenin or around Jenin because of a military operation. So we're going to have to deal with each one as we get there because it's changing every minute.
Amazing.
The challenge with meeting Ali is that he's in Jenin, the city where Shireen was killed. Usually, it's a bustling Palestinian city. Today, it's a ghost town.
We want to go to the site where Shireen was killed. We need to go down that road, and that's the road, unfortunately, that is leading to the single checkpoint where the Israeli military is not allowing people.
This is live in the camp, just basically right outside here. And we've heard at least 2 or 3 explosions so far, right?
Yeah.
And we can hear the drones going overhead, right? Yeah.
Didn't stop. It didn't stop. And we're still waiting for Ali to come. I hope that he could make it to us.
يعطيك العافية علي. شكرا كثير إنه عم تلتقي معنا بعد هذا اليوم الطويل. Thank you very much for meeting us.
We are set up here now, even though we were supposed to meet at the location where you got injured and Shireen got killed.
قريب جدا يعني احنا 5 دقائق نبقى في الموقع في ميدان العودة دوار الشهيدة شيرين أبو عقلة غرب جنين 5 دقائق بس هاي ال5 دقائق عشان توصليها ممكن انه تفقدي روحك ممكن تصابي برصاص الجيش ممكن يعتقلك لكن من المستحيل الوصول إليها لأنها منطقة عسكرية مغلقة والجيش مغلقها وما سبق النص على المنازل واي فلسطيني بيقترب من هذيك المنطقه بيطلقوا النار عليه. اعتقد انه الكارثه الكبرى اللي منعت لجم الاحتلال وعدم تكرار هذه الجريمه زي ما قلت لك انه التقصير، الاهمال، التهميش من قبل كثير من المؤسسات وخاصه امريكا اللي ظلت تدافع عن الاحتلال وعن هاي الجريمه.
بس هي بشكل عام هذا مش موقع
خطورة أو معروف إنه هو موقع يعني عفوا اشتباكات. لما رحتوا يوم 11 أيار 2022 والتقيتوا هناك، تتذكر أنت ليش قلت لهم لازم تلتقوا هناك؟ شو كان السيتنج تبع المكان؟ كيف كان؟
احنا عادة لازم نروح على مكان آمن، على أساس الأهم من التغطية إنه نحمي أنفسنا، يعني على أساس نقدر نصور نحكي، فلازم يكون في بيئة آمنة. فلما وصلنا هناك وبلشت شيرين تستعد عشان نمشي، فأنا وزملائي الصحفيين أبناء جنين اللي بنعرف خارطة المنطقة كنا بنتواصل، بنشوف الفيديوهات، بنتبع، بنشوف حركة الجيش عشان نحدد الموقع الآمن اللي نروح عليه. وبالفعل اخترنا هذا الشارع وهذا الطريق الفرعي اللي بحد دوار العودة. دخلنا ليه، ما كانش فيه أي اشتباكات، حتى أحجار، ما كانش فيه داخله أي فلسطينيين.
كيف تستذكر هذا اليوم يعني، وكيف أثر على شغلك؟ كيف أثر عليك وبالتغطية يعني؟
وقلت إنه الاحتلال في هذيك الفترة كان يعد العدة لارتكاب سيناريو خطير في مخيم جنين، فعشان هيك بده الشهود أطلق النار علينا عشان قتل، عشان هو كان يقتلني أنا وياها الآن عشان إرهابنا حتى لا نعود إلى مخيم جنين. وبالتالي عشان هيك أنا من لحظة استشهاد شيرين قلت وما زلت بقول وحظلني أقول إنه هي رصاصة أرادت أن تمنع الإعلام الفلسطيني من توثيق وفضح جرائم الاحتلال.
This is the main roundabout. This is Al Manara Square. And that's Al Jazeera's office. Shireen's office was right there. It's closed now. We can go up and see the door, but it's welded. We cannot go in. And
The Israeli military came in, right, and shut it down?
they did. As you can see, it's a lot.
Israel is now the most dangerous country in the world to be a journalist. Israel was never in that category before until Shireen and until what's happened over the last year and a half.
Yeah. Well, saying this and seeing this reflected in numbers is good, but it still doesn't depict the fear that this has instilled inside me as a journalist. I'm not trying to play brave or pretend that I am going to be like, I'm a mother also. I'm a human being. I'm a Palestinian. I happen to live in this country and I'm doing my best to survive. But with every movement, I feel like every day can be my last. I don't know if you can imagine this, but I feel like every day can be my last. The thing is not about taking precautions, because we saw what Shireen did. Shireen, Ali, Mujahid, Shada, we saw what they did. It was clear they took all precautions and they still got shot at. And we lost Shireen that day.
Do you do anything differently in how you operate in these areas after Shireen's death, do you think?
I don't think that I do things differently in my work, but I do things differently as a mother now.
Really? Like what?
I hug my children more often. I always kiss them before I leave, because it might be the last time. You never know.
Shireen's death didn't just impact journalists. It left a huge hole in her family and her community.
وجميع الراقدين على رجاء القيامة من هذه العائلة.
قدوس الذي لا يموت ارحمنا. قدوس الله قدوس القوي قدوس الذي لا يموت ارحمنا.
قدوس الله
قدوس القوي قدوس الذي لا يموت ارحمنا.
بصلوات أبائنا القديسين أيها الرب يسوع.
For so many people, Shireen was like the voice of Palestine, you know? What was she to you? Like, how do you think of her?
Oh, Shireen was everything, you know. She was not only a sister, She was everything. The whole generation grew up watching Shireen and listening to her reports. So I think she left a mark in a whole generation. Lots of people see me and they tell me, you know, we grew up watching Shireen, not even here in Palestine, but everywhere I go, I get this comment. I think she will be remembered as a voice of peace or reporter of peace. Well, that's what she did. She just reported on stories that happened and took place here in Palestine.
We met in Washington, D.C. with Senator Van Hollen, who, as you know, has been very strong.
Very supportive, yeah.
And he said very clearly that the Biden administration's failure to hold Israel to account for Shireen's death has led to the deaths of more Americans and more journalists.
I think if Biden administration took any strong stand and actions, this would have never happened. You know, people have the right to demonstrate, and of course, the journalists have the right to report from wherever there is something ongoing. And targeting, especially when they know they are Americans, targeting them, that's really worrying. When the administration doesn't take anything, that's a green light to go ahead and do more and more. Definitely it wasn't an accident. You know, Shireen had full gear. The helmet and the vest, armored vest, clearly written press on it, and they still targeted it in a deadly spot. 16 bullets in 3 volleys, they were shot at her. If that was not a targeting, I don't know what is a targeting, but when you shoot 16 bullets, head level and chest level, what do you expect? You're not trying to alarm them or warn them. You're trying to kill or assassinate someone.
Something you said, you know, a month after she was killed about if they kill Shireen.
Yeah. Anybody could be killed just because the killer is an Israeli soldier. And this is really scary. You know, they get out, they can do anything, and they are never held accountable. So it can happen to anyone. And we've seen what happened lately in Gaza. More than 200 journalists were targeted and killed, and no action is taken. Nothing.
One of the things we're trying to do is to find the Israeli soldier who fired the shot. What would you say to that soldier if you could?
Well, you know, I would just say why. Why would they do something like this to a beautiful person? You know, she never caused any harm to anyone.
I've hit a bunch of dead ends trying to find the shooter. Like all the State Department people I thought would know. They're not saying anything. How's it going on your end?
So it's been some 2 weeks of fishing around. I have one contact who's been a long-standing member of the Duvdevan unit, and he gave me a few numbers. So I reached out to a few of them. So this first soldier refused to speak.
Not that surprising.
And the second figure, who was apparently acquainted with people who were there at the scene of the event, began speaking to me, and he told me that a close friend of his was there that day. And I had the sense while talking to him that this soldier was more than just a friend, and his role that day was more than just some sort of assistance. So I asked him, frankly, if this soldier happened to be the shooter. And after a long silence, he said yes.
Did he give any other information?
I was very reluctant to push him on the topic. And so instead, I decided that it would be best to set up a private meeting with him.
When is that something that can happen, like in the next couple of days?
It's something that I think can happen tomorrow.
Did you ever talk to the guy who fired those shots?
Of course. Yeah, I know him personally. I don't remember something special about this case because it wasn't like an issue. He wasn't happy like, hey, I killed journalists. Of course, but it wasn't like, you know, feeling himself from the inside, like thinking about, oh, what have I done or something like that. You open the corner and you have the second to take a decision, take a shot, and this is someone who holds camera or something that, you know, pointed at you. You don't need more than that to shoot the bullet. I won't say that the guy that shot this shot is dead already. Cardio was the one that shot her.
What's his name?
Cardio. Yeah, that's his name. Scadio. Alone. Like oak tree. Alone. Scadio.
Holy shit, we got a name.
It was unbelievable.
That was absolutely wild.
The question is it the right name? We have every reason to believe him because of his relationship with the unit and his knowledge of the unit, but
the thing is, so like I looked him up. I looked him up while we was talking.
yeah.
And he said he was killed in Gaza, and the reports in the Israeli media say he was killed in Jenin, and that he's not in Duvdevan.
Yeah.
So how is this our guy then?
See if we can find anything about him. Ari online.
What are you looking for exactly?
Well, we want to find something that shows that anything that shows that he was with Duvdevan, because there's nothing in his obit about it.
And he died. He died in that other unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Under a different name.
Is this anything? This looks like it's in Hebrew. I can't tell if this is about him.
So the name of the website is Sipur Chayai, which means like story of my life. It has his name, Alon Scadio. And this is a page dedicated to his memory.
Hold on, I want to see this. I want to see it. Can we pull it up on the computer?
Yeah.
See if there's anything about Duvdevan in there.
There you go.
Okay.
See if there's something about Duvdevan.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
There it is.
Hold on. Hold on. So it says here, after talking about his sweet tooth for chocolate, on December 10th, 2020, Alon joined Duvdevan. And there's more. After completing a 14-month comprehensive training course as a combat soldier and sniper in Team 90, he was deployed to the West Bank for 8 months, participating in numerous counterterrorism operations. Upon completion of his combat service, Alon successfully graduated from the officers' training school and was assigned to command the snipers team in the elite unit Kharov. So this is an attempt to explain how he died under a different unit.
Right.
He graduated from officers training school and was assigned to command. This was a promotion out.
Yep. And none of this is in the official report of his death, which says he was in a different unit. They wiped this out of the official release when he was killed.
Correct.
So even though he was in another unit when he was killed,
he was still identifying.
He identifies as a Duvdevan person.
Correct.
Except for he's not in that unit anymore, presumably because of the shooting of Shireen. He was promoted up and out.
Well, I guess, they would have presumably, they had to distance him from the unit.
Right.
But they also had to discipline him in such a way as to not anger the unit, probably.
Right. I can't believe that we can find this information, but the White House, the Biden administration couldn't, the State Department doesn't have this information. But this is all stuff that we were able to put together. Fatima?
We think we've identified the shooter. We think...
Like the person who did it?
Yeah.
Name and everything.
We went to see this guy. We were trying to press him on a name that we heard. He's like, no, it's Alon Scadio. It's Alon Scadio.
So thank you, guys. This is amazing. This is really amazing. Thank you.
This guy said that after Alon died, his unit was so upset about the fact that his name had been stained by killing Shireen that they started using her photograph for target practice. We're heading up to the military cemetery in Hadira, where Alon Scadio is. They said he's buried. So we've come this far to find him. Let's see if we can find his final resting place.
Yeah, I want to see if there's really evidence of the Duvdevan unit. I'm still struck by the fact that that connection isn't made in the public statement.
Yeah.
But based on everything we know about him, he was a proud member of the unit. So this whole section is the newest soldiers, it looks like, that have died.
So he was killed June 27.
What's this one?
Yeah.
This is him?
This is him. Scadio. 27th, it's the same day.
I think despite what the press release said, he's definitely a member of Duvdevan based on what we're seeing here.
definitely he was part of Dudavon. His bio says that. I think, we came to find the shooter. We found the shooter. We found his friends. There's a lot of irony in the fact that he fell in Jenin, where Shireen was killed, where he killed Shireen. We set out on this journey to find out who killed Shireen, and we did. We did what the U.S. government failed to do. Israeli soldiers told us Alon Skagio killed Shireen, and the Israeli government covered it up. There was no crossfire. The Biden administration failed Shireen Abu Akleh, and more Americans and many more journalists have died as a result. How has Shireen's killing and everything that's happened changed how you operate here as a journalist?
It's definitely hurt me. It has definitely instilled fear in me. I am afraid. And I'm afraid of being a journalist. And no Palestinian journalist can tell you that they can make dinner plans.
That's scary.
Yes, but also it is a reality. Since Shireen's killing specifically, that was a moment that changed our lives. You start realizing that they're not just trying to kill Palestinian journalists physically. They're also trying to pose doubt on our words. We are not credible enough. We are not good enough as journalists. And that's not true. That is not true. We're gonna keep doing this. Nothing can stop us because, to be honest, one of the things that Shireen's death, Shireen's killing has taught me is that it's only your integrity, your professional integrity, and your status that is going to make you something, that is going to put some influence. Unfortunately, we had to lose her to learn that. It was the hardest way of learning a lesson. And Shireen was this kind of person, those kind eyes, this smile, she was really this kind of person on camera and off camera. In her real life, in her worst days, I would say. She was a genuine person. And I think that this honesty was reflected in her work. And therefore, slowly, gradually, moment by moment, I don't think there was any intention of making her anything like a celebrity. I think it just came because she was there. And her professional integrity made her who she is to us. Because, and I say is because to me, she's still here.
The day before my brother was released, the Red Cross published a list of Palestinian detainees' names, and I was very happy to see my brother's name on that list. I was relieved to see my brother back and for the war to come to an end. It's a big victory and a historic moment for us Palestinians and for my family in particular. I'm Brahim Al-Khalili, a correspondent, and between us, my brother is finally free. But I can't forget the pain on the faces of the Palestinian prisoners who returned with him. I was detained alongside my brother on the 18th of March 2024 when the Israeli army stormed Al-Shifa hospital west of Gaza City. I remember that day like I remember my name. So we went through dehumanizing treatment. After hours, I was released with my family members, but my brother Muhammad was detained. Then the Israeli military destroyed the whole building that we used to live in. My brother described very harsh testimonies while he was in the prison. Long periods of isolation and torture, interrogation, the freezing weather in a Naqab prison without having a chance to have a proper sleep, deprived of the basic necessities, food, water, and medical care. His health conditions deteriorated while he was in the prison. After 19 months in Israeli detention, we went to Nasser Hospital south of Gaza Strip, and we waited for hours for him to show up.
He's my brother.
When I saw him, I felt the world stopped for a second. I hugged him, I cried, and so did he. We had no words to describe that feeling of reuniting with my brother alongside with his 4 beautiful children and his wife. My brother Muhammad is physically drained. He lost like 30 kilos of his weight. He's emotionally fragile. He can't believe that Gaza has turned into a wasteland to find his home completely destroyed. And he told me it's not about the loss of property, Ibrahim, it's about the loss of memories. My brother's story is among thousands of stories of Palestinian detainees. One of these detainees told me that the Israeli military was torturing him, shackling, beating on regular basis. One of the detainees told me that he lost the sight in his both eyes during the torture interrogation. I could not look at his eyes. I saw pain in his eyes. He was barely speaking to us. We saw many stories that is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. People should understand that detention is not only a crime against the detainee, it's a wound in every family. My brother was held without any charge, and this is the case for thousands of Palestinian detainees who were still detained in Israeli prisons.
After the ceasefire was announced, waves of people began returning to Gaza City, and this is the scene behind me.
We are seeing aid coming in, yes, but it's not the sufficient amount, and we are seeing the prices dropping down, but they are still expensive for thousands of families who lost their jobs and sources of incomes. The government media office estimates that the Israeli army has violated the ceasefire agreement, and this creates some sense of instability for Palestinians and made them think that the Israeli war will resume. I hope for something simple, safe homes for families, functioning hospitals, schools to be back for the children who have been deprived of their right to read and write, because we are talking about a lost generation. So Palestinians feel a sense of normalcy after the war has come to an end.
How many you have to tell me, hey, this kind of trouble's only just begun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell myself too many times, why don't you ever learn to keep your big mouth shut? That's why it hurts so bad to hear the words that keep on falling from your mouth. Falling from your mouth. Falling from your mouth. Tell me viciously unkind, but I can still read what you're thinking. Oh, and I've heard it said too many times that you'd be better off besides. Why can't you see this boat is sinking? This boat is sinking. This boat is sinking. It's sinking, sinking, sinking down now. Let's go down to the water's edge, and we can cast away those doubts. Some things are better left unsaid, but they still turn me inside out. Turn it inside out. Turn it inside out. Tell me This is the sound of drones and guns. Watch the people run, run, run. Shoot to kill them just for fun. Bodies falling one by one. Step back while they blow the fuse. Those who win and those who lose. Those who conquer and abuse. It's just a game. Everything that we have seen captured on your iPhone screen can't conceal the howling screams. Oblivion, oblivion reigns. Oblivion reigns. Tell me Let Gaza live.
That's our program. I'm Mark Hage. You've been watching the Vermont Report on Palestine, Israel. We'll see you soon, I hope.